I had to look at it good. I had to put on my glasses. Like, are these the numbers right?
We have a special guest, Jojo Alonso. She started in 2017 and is currently fixing, flipping, and building brand new houses here in Hawaii from the ground up. She has an incredible story of coming from humble beginnings to making her first million in real estate and now focusing on building generational wealth for her and her family. Welcome to the show, Jojo.
Thank you, Daniel, bro. Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so excited to get into your story. I mean, like we talked a little bit before about how like a little bit of your journey, and it's so inspiring. I think a lot of people will get like a lot of value from this. I mean, maybe just walk us a little bit before, what were you doing before real estate and how did you get started in real estate?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my real estate journey takes me back to, let me take you back to 2014.
2014, okay.
When my sister passed away. So in 2014, my sister passed away. When she passed away, she was also actually a real estate investor at that time.
Okay.
My younger sister.
Yeah.
And so she had an apartment, she had some condos, and then she had life insurance. So so when she passed away, she left, my mom became the beneficiary of all of that. Then I eventually became the successor trustee to liquidate
her estate.
Mm-hmm. And then in 2017, 2016, I think my mom actually, 2017, I think it's one of those. My mom wanted something to turn tragedy to triumph.
Yeah.
And at that time, I wasn't going through a really good time. I was going through a dark time at that time.
So in 2014, so your sister was kind of doing real estate and investing on her own, like unbeknownst to you guys or like apart from you guys?
It was actually apart from us.
Okay.
She would, we weren't even interested in real estate. I was actually at that time, I was in banking.
Okay.
So my goal was to move up the corporate ranks. And invest like maximum into my 401k.
Yeah, I had the same plan.
Right?
I think the thing is like when you're going to college and a lot of things, you just know the W2 world. Then you're just like you're so focused in this lane. Yeah. Sometimes you don't even realize that the world of real estate investing or even passive income even exists, right?
Exactly. So, I mean, I didn't even know about that world. Like what was that? You know.
Yeah.
So she was actually she learned from it from another investor when she was living in Boston. She told us about it, but we would just kind of shrug it off. Thing, no, I'm busy. I'm trying to move up the corporate rank because that was considered prestigious. And that was the only way that I knew okay, this is how we're going to build a retirement and live in there. But, so that happened. So when we lost her, I was going through a really difficult time. I just,
sorry.
I left my corporate job actually the year after she passed away. And then I got into mortgage loans. I wanted to work on my own. And that's when my mom actually said, I want you guys to build something as a family. Yeah. So my older sister was actually doing investments at that time. She was a developer.
Oh, wow.
At that time. And then she became our mentor. My mom became our private lender. We just needed to find the deal, which we did.
So this was in 2017 that this happened.
2017, yeah.
So 2017. So like in 2014, you guys had a difficult time with your family. And then like your sister left you some things on the estate side, and then you guys are kind of working through this. And then 2017, your older sister was like, "Hey," or your mom was like, "Hey, let's like turn like this tragedy into a triumph." And you guys were like, "Let's like build something cool in real estate."
Yes. Okay. And that's how we started. And we just did like one at a time.
Okay. So what did that first deal look like for you?
Well, actually the first deal was a condo. Okay. Oh wait, actually, it was a condo, in our hood. And,
where's your hood?
Hood, Kalihi.
Okay. All right. Kalihi.
So, it was a condo and, it was a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, condo. And it was our first time. I think we bought it for like 170,000 or so.
Wow. Okay.
We did about 20,000 renovation. Then I think we sold it for like $2-something. We only made like 20 grand.
Okay.
At that time, we're like, $5 grand. I was like, okay. I think at that time I was like, okay, that's not too bad. It was more than what I was making.
Well, 20 grand is like, it's for like, compared to your W2, that's like,
it is,
3 months of work
but then
and 4 months of work.
We had to divide it, among four. So there were like 4 of us. So my sister found an off market.
Okay.
It was a vacant lot in Waipahu.
Okay.
And then she said, hey, let's do ground up. And so that's when we first learned how to do ground up. She became my mentor. My brother became the project manager. So she taught him.
So it's a whole family, like a whole family business, because you got your older sister's mentoring you guys. You're doing a lot of the work yourself. Your brother's managing the project and your mom's your private lender at this point.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So it really became a family venture, a family business.
Yeah.
And that one we made pretty good money. So that was like about 240,000.
Okay.
So we went from 20,000 to 240,000.
That's a big difference.
And
right?
I was like, hey, when's our next deal now?
That's when the light bulb went up, right? It's
that's when, this is like
the
pill, the red pill from the Matrix, or I think is that the right color pill? But so that's where I was like, oh, I got hooked. So I'm like, okay, when is the next one? And then I just became so, I started reading up on real estate investing. Then I started going on like sites like Bigger Pockets.
Yeah. That's when I started too. Yeah.
Right. And so I tell everyone to go on that. And I just started reading and following people and just learning all about this new real estate
investing. This world of real estate investing. Right?
I was like, I was amazed. Like, oh my gosh, there's all these people from all walks of life and from different backgrounds, and they were really building their wealth. And I said, and then I started like, oh my gosh, there's like, I can really build a future. And where we won't have to be, like we could really start building.
It's such an amazing vehicle. I think just real estate investing in general. It's like, it's one of the only vehicles that's safe and allows like a normal person like you and me to actually like build generational wealth. Because you can get lucky in stocks. I think it's a little bit more risky, but I don't feel it's as safe. But like real estate investing, if you do it correctly, it's so safe. And then like the opportunities that it gives you is like we're just normal people, we're not like extra smart, or like we don't have like a lot of connections, but we're like somehow to build generational wealth in this vehicle is what has like really allowed that to happen.
It's a great way to build capital so fast. Just from one project.
240,000 is nothing to sneeze about.
Yeah, it is. It isn't. I was like, oh my gosh. I said, wow, that was the most money I've ever seen. I'm like, oh my gosh, when I was working in corporate world, I was making 50 grand a year, and I thought that time I was winning,
same.
woohoo, 50 grand, so that was really a game changer.
So that was light bulb, and you started just like really diving in, immersing yourself in the world of real estate investing. And so like were you still like, was it still a family business? So how did you guys do like your third project? What did that look like?
So that for first, second, third project I would say was probably the one in Kailua. Then we discovered like, there's like in certain neighborhoods is when you can really make good money, higher ARVs, after repair value, or, like higher comps.
So ARV, what's an ARV?
After repair value. So it's basically, if you purchase a property where there's potential to add or renovate, so you buy it really at discount below, and you're forced, you renovate, you give the forced appreciation. So you're really able to increase the value of it through addition or alteration.
So the ARV is what you can sell it for after you did a renovation, right?
And so we discovered there's certain neighborhoods. So we moved. So then we moved to Kailua, and that was
we moved like to the project, not your family.
So we moved. So then we started focusing on like the east side.
The thing is like, so when you're doing the condo, like let's say you buy it for 100,000. It's capped on how much you can make, because like the most you can sell it for is maybe like 200 or 250,000, right? But if you're selling a project for like $1 million, 2 million, or 3 million, now like the profit is bigger, but also the risk and also like the potential for a disaster too, right?
Is bigger. Higher risk, higher reward. But as we started gaining experience and working together, then we got more confident. And that's when we started to, you're going to put so much effort and so much risk in one project. You want to maximize your profit.
So it's a return on your time too, right? So like, cause you could do like one project as a condo, or you can do one project as a single family. And this one will make you 20,000 and this will make you 240. The same amount of time and energy really, as far as like how much you're involved. But then like the return or the profit is like a lot bigger on this one versus this one.
Exactly.
Right?
And then that's where we found like, okay, this is where we want to be at.
So Kailua is is this the one that we talked about where you made a pretty good chunk of change in this guy?
Yeah, that was
okay, so walk us through the numbers on this guy.
That was it. Okay, so for the Kailua, we bought it at $1.1 million. Okay. So for the addition, so we renovated and then we added. Okay. So we did an addition and alteration.
You renovated in place and you added more square footage to it afterwards.
More living area. Yes. So got permits on that, drawings on that. So, and so that one, I think was about maybe about 400,000
for the total renovation.
For total maybe 450 for the renovation and addition. And then we sold it at 2.2 or 2.3. I forget already.
Amazing. So how much did you guys make on that project?
So that one we made over 600,000.
Wow.
So over 620,000.
Oh,
yeah.
That's so amazing.
I was like, what? I had to look at it good. And I had to put on my glasses. Like, is this how much? Are these the numbers right? Like count. I'm like, holy bleep, beep, like, ooh. And I said, I cannot believe it. I was like, oh my gosh.
It's like life-changing money. Like one of those deals is like, it can change your life. It's almost like, it's crazy because now when I see things like people win the lottery, they're like, they won like $1 million. I'm like, you guys go through these projects where you can actually make $1 million or close to $1 million even in a year, which is like just through hard work and the right vehicle, which is just insane to think about as like a normal, like everyday working person, So.
Right. Yeah. And it's hard work. I mean, I hope people are not misled that this, that it is a lot of hard work. We've had to, we sweat, tears, sleepless nights. And if you're not able to manage your stress well, you're gonna. I don't want people to end up in the ER like me. I tell people you gotta be able to balance. And not allow yourself to be stressed out. I mean, it's really hard, but you really have to balance. I know we're always constantly in the grind and hustling. But you gotta take care of yourself.
That's so important. I think that's one of the things people don't always realize is that the bigger the number, the bigger the stress and the bigger the burden, right? So the bigger the profit, but now you have to manage a bigger load or a bigger weight on your shoulders because the stress comes it compounds with the level of profit as well as because of the level of risk.
It is, I mean, because that's where I think where I made the most money was also the same year that I ended up, at the ER. So I really had to take a step back and really value it doesn't do me any good if how can I can't serve if I don't I need to rest you have to sometimes put your vehicle in park and rest and then when you're ready to go then you put it on drive and then gas it up and ready to go.
Totally. But this is really helpful because just seeing the journey and I think it'll just shedding some light onto some of the challenges that you're facing, right? So going through that deal where you guys made over $600,000, what were some of the biggest hurdles or challenges as you guys were doing that deal? Yeah,
that's a good question. Everyone hated the project.
What do you
from our Mason guy to my nephews to even us sometimes. It was such hard work. It was in a private road. And so for one thing, just getting our equipment in through that private road, road needed to also be paved and everything.
So you guys had to pave it first before you started a project or was it after?
I think we did it after. But we had to, because it was a private road, that road was shared by multiple owners. So everyone had to agree to, hey, we pay, we'll upfront the money, but are you guys going to reimburse us?
To pave it.
I think eventually we got reimbursed on that. But I think there was just so many, the house was so old. I think it was 1920s or something. Okay. So what happened was initially it was supposed to be a tear down. But there were some problems in the beginning where it was actually different partners. But it didn't work out. So then the plan was that change. We couldn't do a tear down. Then we had to do an addition alteration. Got it. Because of the numbers. So if we were going to
tear downs cost a lot more. It's a bigger thing.
And because there was a shift in partners. These partners they came in with money, with the investment. So there's a shift. So the numbers just didn't work.
Because the money was cheaper with the partners like that, and the less risk. But now that you guys had to did you guys have to use hard money or borrow from this one?
So we had to use a hard money. So we shifted from partners to hard money.
So this was your first time using the hard money?
Yes. Actually, it was. Yeah. No, I'm sorry. So that's the second time. No, that was the second time we used the hard money.
Okay.
So or first time. Oh, I forget already. But okay, yeah. So it was either the first or second time. So then we had to shift, and then we had to work with what we had, and just working with that structure. The way it was by the mountain.
Okay.
So part of the living area was kind of into the ground.
Okay.
So then we had to we were dealing with flood issues.
Oh, because that's a whole nother issue to do.
That's a whole nother issue. There was one time when we were renovating, and there was a storm, and there was and then there was a flood, like a pot of water, or there was flood there. So we had to have people sweep it out. So then we had to dig the outside, and then we had to go underneath, and we had to solidify the
foundation,
exterior,
all
foundation,
like this.
redid the foundation exterior, so we wouldn't get flooded. So then we had to test it out. And then did waterproofing, use certain.
So it was there's a whole bunch of construction and things that were just
one issue.
And then it's constant. I think these are all the things that people don't see, right? Because they see the number you bought it for 1.1, and you sold for 2.3. They're like, wow, you guys made a lot of money, right?
Yeah, but they didn't see what we all
the struggles. There's some permitting issues probably, and then there's
there was.
There's a whole bunch of you got your contractor, the actual construction, some team members are I guess they bailed halfway, or there's a split right through this thing. It's those are all kind of the challenges that you had to kind of overcome and face to kind of get this thing to the finish line, right?
So, it is, yeah. And then just because we were managing our own project and just dealing with all of that. And then when we're done renovating, it actually sat on the market for a while.
Oh, really?
So some people were lowballing. And then we stayed, and then it was crickets, so there's nothing. And I think it was on the market for maybe 8 months or something.
Oh, wow, that long.
It was really long.
What did you guys initially come into market at?
I think we came in at 2, really high, I think 2.5, or 2.6. And then we had to drop it 2.4, 2.3, and then it was there was a time where oh my gosh, we're gonna lose money. We're like, are we gonna even sell this at all? So we even thought about, okay, maybe we're gonna keep it and rent it out. Refinance it. But then we had a third part. There were 3 partners, and they didn't want to
keep any money inside.
Right, we had to sell it, and we didn't want to be stuck with a big mortgage payment, paying them out. So then we thought, oh my gosh, we have to sell it. So it just kept on sitting in the market. And then finally, we had multiple offers, 2 competing offers. We just need
so just randomly. So you sat for 8 months, and all of a sudden you just got 2 competing offers all at once.
And then we got over asking.
Okay.
So then we lowered the price, and then we ended up selling it for over asking.
Okay.
So we couldn't believe. So we're in the project for 18 months or something like that. It was a long time. So there was a time when we're did we make the right decision? What did we do?
What year was this when this was happening?
This was 2022. What is this? 2023, 2021.
2021
is when we started scaling, and then we sold it in the later 22 or 2020.
So just recently then, this is really, really real recent.
Well, it's 2023 now. So probably, I think we got it sold last year, January 2022, something like that, over a year.
Okay.
So that was, I think that was probably the most stressful one. But that was also the most.
It's so much unknown.
Financially,
so profitable, right? But
the most profitable one.
And then through the whole process, there must have been a lot of times when you felt like you wanted to quit, or this is we're gonna lose money, we're gonna lose our all our
I mean even that was so much that was a lot of it. We can laugh at it now because my husband, I think one time he had to go check on it, and then he got stung by a bee or something, and then we had to rush him to the ER. He's he was I think he had a showing, he's an agent too, so I think we had to show him, we had to fix something, and he's like, Jojo, I got stung by a bee, I don't know, or a wasp or something. I'm like, okay, so he had to rush to Castle, and he's like, I don't know if I'm gonna have allergic stuff. I'm like, oh my gosh, so, and then I'm like, well, did the buyer like it or what? So I was more concerned, well, did the buyer like it or not? Because we have to sell it. I'm in the hospital, right? with this sting thing, they had to give me something. I'm like, okay, but you're okay, right? Yeah, I'm like goofy like that.
No,
so
but
crazy.
I mean, but I love you guys have like a wonderful marriage. You guys, how long have you been married together?
Oh my gosh, too long. Okay, so since 1994, I'm like,
wow,
yeah, I had to ask him like, how many years are we married? I need a calculator on that one.
Like 30
what is
years
that?
almost.
20? Okay, you're the math. You're 20
well,
something.
maybe 30. Yeah, well, but I mean, like amazing that you guys have like. And you guys have really good dynamic. I feel like you guys like really play off each other really well, and like business and life together, right? You have a really good balance of doing things with each other, both in business and in personally, you know.
Yeah.
So like,
but but don't get me wrong. People think like you guys works real well. I'm like, oh no, you should see us behind closed door. We're like. I'm like, when are you going to get this done? Can't you see that I'm getting it done? I'm like, I'm going to order the pea. No, I'm ordering the pea, I'm like, come on, let's go. Chop, chop, chop,
How do you,
He's like, you got to chill.
How do you guys have like roles? How do you guys kind of balance like the
the business
actually,
and the
okay,
yeah, that's good. We actually have a good role. It's just, I don't stay in my lane. So I think I do the acquisition. So I'll take acquisition all the way to we close.
Contract.
Right. All the way from negotiation.
Finish of escrow.
Yeah, so from negotiation, getting the property, looking for properties, negotiating it, closing it on the acquisition side, and he takes over, and then I do the finance and the bookkeeping, and he's supposed to take over, but I don't stay in my lane, so that's the hard thing. Yeah, and so it's
that's
so funny.
That's where you guys fight or come into.
So I got it. So I talk to like our peers, right, our colleagues. I'm like, hey, who work with spouses, how do you guys do it? How do you guys do it? We're like, well, we stay in our lane. I'm like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta stay in my lane. That's where, and when I don't stay in my lane, then
that's where the conflict happens, right? Because
conflict happens. Yeah.
So it's really, it's really good. So you guys have real clear roles where you're finding the deals, taking it to the completion or acquisition and funding and accounting, and then from like when you guys actually own it, he's managing the project until the construction, and then on the sales side, is he doing the sales side too?
Yeah. So when he's done with the construction, it comes back to me. Okay. Because then I'll negotiate and I'll dispo it.
Because it's very similar, right? Like the buy side and the sell side, they're like there's a lot of like overlapping kind of like skill sets. And,
right. Yeah. Because he loves the construction and the design. And the design. He's so good at that.
Really?
Like the interior designing. You just gotta hurry up. He watches.
My wife is really good.
Hubby, hurry up.
My wife is really good at the interior design. So when we kind of work together, she's kind of like the one who does like the interior design too.
Yeah.
Although sometimes like we kind of like our lanes are kind of crossed. So I wanted to make sure it's on budget and on time. Yeah. But my wife is like, she's such a good designer. She's like, I want to make it the most beautiful for the new owner. So we'll kind of like butt heads sometimes. Like, I want to knock out this wall and make this thing. I'm like, let's just like keep it as is and sell it like.
So who wins?
Always the wife is the boss. So,
that's right. So. You are a smart man, Daniel Kong.
But I mean, but we have a really good relationship, I think. But it's really cool to see how different people kind of handle like the different roles and like the different kind of things together, and how you guys have like a good dynamic, So
well, we try, but so that's why I said like we're like, and then like don't I swear we're like third graders when we fight, and then when we're done, we're like, okay, where are we eating tonight? Happy hour.
So you're working with your husband on these projects. Do you also have like a sister and your mom? Are they still involved in you guys' business?
Yeah. So what happened was we started initially with my siblings. And then then I gained confidence. I started gaining confidence.
You got the experience under your belt, right?
Yeah, started being capital. Then and then I started venturing into having other partners. Okay. So doing other, and then now we've finally doing our own deals. Okay. Yeah. And then so I'm like, okay, so that's a challenge. So my partner is now my husband, and so we're like butting heads. So it's a constant like, okay, it's just compromise and having a decent conversation. Yeah. Supposed to be like adult conversation, but sometimes the gloves come off and roll up.
But the big thing is like, I think like, so conflict is healthy, right? Like whenever like things happen, you never want to just like leave it on the rug and not address it. Like you guys fight, you guys like kind of like you talk through it, you fight through it. Then afterwards you guys go eat together, right?
Yeah.
But the big thing is as long as you're having the communication back and forth and you're kind of figuring it out together, I think that's so healthy as far as both like business partners and in marriage,
Yeah, exactly. In both. Yeah. I know.
That's so good. So like right now you guys are off on your own. So like is there like a friendly rivalry, you and your sisters who are doing other projects? How does like that dynamic work?
No, I kind of don't tell her. Like now she's gonna know. No, I'm just kidding. No, she watches it, but So she'll do her own projects. I kind of know about the other developments that she does, her other projects. But yeah, maybe I think I'm kind of like, I want to be able to show what I can do. I guess like, got to cut the umbilical cord and let the, fly. And then, see, I'm a product of, her teachings. And
well, she must be really proud of you now, just kind of seeing where you guys are.
I hope so. Yeah. Yeah, I hope so. But I don't like to say things. I just like to show people.
Yeah. You're a big doer, I think. You're not like a big... Like that, you don't talk about yourself. I just see you like doing things. And so
just do it. Yeah, just take action. That's how you tell the world.
I'm like, so George, I got this project. You want to check it out? And we go to it's like this beautiful mansion you guys built in Manoa. And like it's just you guys put out like a really good product.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one. Yeah. Our latest one too was also a fun one. That was quite an adventure too. Every project it just takes you on a different journey. You learn so many things. And a lot of painful lessons too, and good lessons. But
it's so satisfying when if you get to finish product and you get to see the work and everything that's involved.
And then every development that we do as a family, or even every project, I dedicate it to my dad and my sister. Because really, without them, they're always beside us. Without them, what happened, as painful as it was, it really brought me to this journey of where I am today. I don't think I would be where I am today. Has not been, what had happened.
There's like a real beauty in that, how like you talk about turning like the tragedy into ashes, right? Where like sometimes it's like the most challenging things in our lives that really help us to see what's important in life, but also gives us the motivation and inspiration to kind of like take those steps forward that we might not have taken with otherwise, right?
Yeah. And then I realized like, like you mentioned, like I made my over $1 million already in real estate, but really I think, looking back, my true wealth was really with family. Just having family around you. I mean, I didn't have a lot of money then, but I was wealthy. I was wealthy with love and with family. So I think people, as we try to strive for financial freedom, that you never forget your
that's
family.
a true wealth, right? I feel like financial freedom just allows us to have like more of that wealth that we that's really important, the time with family and things, but it allows us to get some of the stress or some of the things off your back so you can like spend more time, put more focus on your family which is like the real true wealth, right?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
But it's also cool that as you're building, like you're going through your journey, you have your family alongside you to kind of like to handhold each other and also kind of like do it together, right? So you guys are taking your bumps and bruises together. You guys are figuring things out together, but you're doing it as a family. So now that when you have like both like the losses and success, now it's like a team effort for everybody involved.
It is. And then also it's important that I also help other people who are interested, too. So I last year I said, I want to be able to make an impact. I want to be able to inspire others. And I hope through my stories and through just meeting people and just talking to them, to let them know that, I hope to inspire those who want to start their journey into real estate, that they're going along the right path. And
I know. I think we have some mutual friends. You're like been a mentor to some of our friends, and like they really they always talk so highly about you. You're always so helpful and so giving, and really walking them through some of the challenges that they're having from your own experience.
Yeah, I know. I believe in paying it forward. The universe takes care of you. For being a blessing to others as well. So that's so important. Our life is so short here.
It is so short.
You want to be able to leave your footprint. Leave it. A footprint for something. There's reward in that too, like the emotional reward or
100%
spiritual reward, if you if you will.
So I mean, you just mentioned that you made your first $1 million in real estate, which is just insane to think about. Like 5 years ago, working at W-2, making $15,000 a year, to now making $1 million in a single year. That's like, it'll take up some people like lifetimes to save that amount, right? So like what has allowed you to do that? Was it like, walk us through a little bit of like that story or those numbers?
I think it's just starting with one project at a time. And then just constantly with each project, it's important to really watch your expenses. You like with each project, I always try to maximize the profit. You work so hard on it. It's not easy to get deals. And you have to also constantly, once you make money in the buy, you make money in the sell. It's just being conscious of that and time. And I think that's how you're able to, and then scale, do multiple projects. Leveraging other people's skill sets.
How are you guys able to scale? Like
with finances too, because it's so capital intensive, right? Real estate, it requires money, and
it does.
We're trying to do also you're trying to learn creative deals too. But being able to know what all your resources are and start utilizing that.
Maximizing, like I do what I hear you saying is like you're number one, you need to buy a good deal. And then as you're running the deal, the more you can like cut down your expenses and your all your holding costs, then like you can actually maximize the profit on the back end. But utilizing your resources, your experience, all different kind of tools that you have at your belt. But it's really like there's a whole picture thing of just being able to do these deals to actually like reach the goals that or your financial goals that you're trying to hit. So
and it's always I feel like, you're like,
you're juggling like
act, right?
Things,
constantly, like with every project.
Because there's so many different skill sets involved, right? There's like, like acquisitions. Then now you're managing contractors. You're trying to raise money for your deal with either banks or lenders.
And it's a constant thing. Like I could be like partying with my friends, and I'm like, okay, let me see now. I wonder how that offer. I'm going to submit on that offer, and then I'm trying to be present, right? There's a challenge like because then I'm always constantly thinking like, how do you turn it off? And like I'll ask people, how do you turn it off?
I have this exact same problem. So if you figure that out, please let me know.
Like I'm talking to you right now, and I'm thinking about like, man, I gotta submit that offer and another deal. Like, oh, okay, that's what I'm gonna do. Like even before I go to sleep, I'm like, okay, this is I'm gonna work on this and this. It's like, and then sometimes my daughter's talking to me about her problems, and I'm like, okay, this, and I'm like, okay, but now let me see. Now what? So I was like, Mom, are you listening to me? Yes, I am listening
but
to you.
It's like just because we're so immersed in it that it kind of like almost consumes your life because you're always thinking about the next deal or the projects, and so like it's always like in the back of your mind. So it's so hard to like turn it off.
So how do you do it? Like when you're with your wife?
So like it's number one. I think it's like you have to make a decision like at the time, right? So like number one is like, hey, I'm going to decide to be present. Like, even though like I know all these things swirling and I have all these like responsibilities.
So do you have your phone? Like,
so you have to turn your phone off.
Yeah.
And so like we have a rule. We have a rule that I'm not allowed to be on our phones like when we're eating. So like when we're doing dinner, we're like, okay, turn your phone off and you can't answer it unless she goes to the bathroom. Then I'm like, okay, let's see what's going on. Right?
Like, oh, you're in the bathroom a lot.
But I think like just like making like a decision, I think turning off like electronics when so like you have like a conversation with the person in front of you, and then you can focus on them. Because the big thing too is like you can be like have all your electronics off, but just like it's still in the back of your mind. You're thinking like, oh, when is my contract going to get back to you? Like it's like
okay, now I watch your stories, so you always have stories on food. So I'm always licking my phone every time. I'm like, when I'm like saying stuff. So after you do that, then you turn your phone off.
So we film the film. My wife knows the drill, right? We film each other or like film the food. Then the phone goes off from there, and then we just have a great conversation.
I was like, you're eating there again, and I'm like, I'm like, but can you please just let us know where you eat the next time, because because it looks really good. Yep, yummy.
Yeah, I'll post all the. Just send me a DM. I'll tell you where all of our good spots are. So,
because I'm like, dang.
But I actually find so like when as like you're kind of going through this journey of financial freedom, there's like different things that are important, right? I think number one, family is always important.
Always
but
number one.
When we're budgeting on like our financial freedom, like and our budgeting goals, like we realize that like, do you want to buy like a nice car or a nice house? No, let's just increase our food budget. So we're still living in a dinky, like $1,000 a month rent. But then as we got more like financially, like successful, just our food budget went from like $500 a month to like $1,000 a month to like $2,000 a month. So like we just stretched that as far as like, that's where we got like the most value of it personally, so.
Oh my gosh. I'm a foodie too. So I love to eat. Like I'm thinking, where are we going to eat tonight too? No, but I love it too. I'm like that too. My husband's like ready for another car. And I'm like, really? Okay, maybe we should do another flip before you buy another car. But I love food and real estate.
Because you need to be like responsible, right? So you have to kind of budget your life to a certain extent. So, but it's just like, where do you want to budget or where do you want to flex? And some people are like, I want to buy that new car. So that's an extra $500 or $1,000 a month. But for us, we were like, we're going to live in like a dinky, like apartment basement, right? We're still going to stay there, but we're just going to add a little bit more money to our food budget. And I feel like this quality of life, you get to like not worry about the food bill, but then also spend more time with the person. As I feel like that's like the number, or at least for us, that was like the number one thing that adds the most value for life. Best bang for your buck kind of thing.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
So.
And then, I'm still like, I still watch my finances. I even though we're in a better place financially now than we were 7 years ago. I still watch my daughters like, Mom, when are we going to move to a nicer house? Like the houses that you build. I'm like, patience. We're still in the building, the building phase, until we're comfortable. And then there's a time when I would just buy like the latest Gucci. Like I had to buy the latest Gucci, Tiffany.
Those things are expensive, right? So.
Those things are expensive. Like now they're just sitting in my closet. I don't even know where they are now, but I always had to, like every payday, I had to buy Tiffany or a Gucci. And then those things it doesn't matter. I mean, it's really interesting how our perspective changes and where we want to
your priorities
spend.
And stuff, right?
Yeah, priorities. So now I'm like, I'm a thrift store person. I'm not embarrassed to say it.
Same. We still go. I mean, I'm happy going to thrift stores.
Yep. And then just no Gucci, no Tiffany's for me. It doesn't matter, those things.
I think it's a healthy place to be where like you feel like you don't need to show off and like you're trying to put your finances where it's like the most important, whether it's buying back your time or whether it's just like the things that you like genuinely enjoy, right? So like I think but it just takes like a decision or like a conscious like choice to kind of like decide where you want to spend your money, right? So,
Yes, exactly. Yep. So, always thinking like, is that a need or a want? Yeah. And if I need it, can I get it cheaper?
And I feel like as you like get older or like as you get older, like your life and your perspective on life changes.
It does.
Like when you're like a teenager, it's way different than when you're in 20s and way different than when you're 30s. And I think as you get older, the different things are important to you. So I think as you get older, you realize, okay, family time or family is actually a lot more important than when I was like a teen. I was like, I didn't want to hang out with my parents, Cause they're not cool.
You only want to hang out with your friends, like me.
But it also affects where you spend your money and your time too, right? It
does,
now. So like where you're putting your effort and time, energy, you can see the change both as an investor, but also like as a person in general. So
yeah. I mean, like in 20s, spending money on nightclubs and all that, right? Yeah. So now it's like those are weekends. Now weekends are like, okay, where are we going to go? Which properties are we going to go walkthroughs over the weekend?
So like somebody who's just kind of starting out there, they feel inspired by you, like your journey in the past 3 or 4 years, you built a massive amount of generational wealth and continue to have so much success in the Hawaii market. What would you say to somebody who's just starting out, wants to get started in real estate investing?
Yeah, that's a great question. So a lot of people have been asking, that question, like, hey, how do you, so I was telling them, I started reading, I always tell them biggerpockets.com, start reading books about real estate investment, start attending meetups. Meetups and talk to people. Even though you're shy, just get out of your comfort zone. Cause people, when I tell people I'm an introvert, they're like,
there's no way.
Yeah, right. I said, I'm a forced extrovert, I'm because I'm forced to do it. So I'm actually an introvert. So after this, I'm going to be tired, but, people don't believe it, but I'm actually an introvert, but I'm forced to be, because, it's how you grow and it's really a necessity. Yeah. Really. Like if you're going to be in business or even work for someone,
you have to get out of your comfort zone.
You have to. So I say, read, get educated. I say, and get your finances straight too, because if you're not handling your own finances, your personal finances, what makes you think you're going to be able to handle a project? And if you're going to get private lenders in there, you have to be able to know your numbers and be able to be financially responsible
That's
too.
That's really, really good advice.
I mean, so I tell them, be aware of your finances. Like how's your credit score? So even if you acquire deals like creatively, how's your credit score? Because if you're going to be borrowing from someone using your own money, you need to be financially responsible too. So, start with the basics there. Networking with people, like-minded people who are, who have experience.
Where you want to be or get to, right?
And talk to them and find how you can be of value to them. Because I'm always telling people, you find me a deal and if you want to learn how to do
project,
a project, I can teach you all the way to the end, you know?
Yeah.
So they're like, oh, how do we get a deal? Okay, well, let's sit and let's talk about it.
Yeah.
So I tell me, if that's something that you want to do, you have to be consistent about it. You can't just give up like that. Like,
that's the biggest thing too. I think is like, it's
so easy to give.
It seems so like what's easy to do is also easy not to do, right? So like the steps are very easy to do, but then you have to do it consistently over a long period of time without giving up, right?
Yeah, right. So I say it's so easy to be motivated, but it's discipline that's going to take you to the next level, right? So you're like, everybody's in the beginning, right?
When you get the emotional high.
We're going to do it. Yeah, let's going to do, you know, and then they're flat tire later on.
2 weeks later, it's like, you feel like,
I've got so many rejections.
Kind of goes down.
So it's a constant, like you gotta motivate. And so that's where networking with others, getting educated and just, being, I think like having accountability.
Yeah, accountability is like, that's
partner,
huge.
Actually.
That's really, really huge.
Yeah. And I'm like, hey, you know what? Let me know, you know, slap me. Well, no, don't slap me, but you know, we don't condone violence here. But just let me know. Tell me straight, you know, like let's do this, or let's just get motivated, because it's we're very social creatures, right? Like real estate is really a team sport.
It is.
It's
it
a
really
team sport.
Is a team sport. Yeah.
You can't just do it. I don't know how maybe some people can do it by themselves.
You can.
I don't know.
It just takes a huge, way more amount of like mental and discipline strain, and you're not going to go very fast, right? It's not very far.
Yeah. It's so easy to get started, but it's so hard to just,
continue. Stay focused. Yeah.
But so if you're going to do it, you got to be committed to it. And then when things are tough, you got to get tougher.
Yeah.
And you'll evolve, you'll get better, and
do you feel like
it's not always smooth. Like even now, I'm always learning. I'm always learning. I'm learning from other people. I'm learning from new people. People who are just new into the game. I'll ask them, hey, how do you do this? How did you do? How is it? What did you learn? So everyone has value.
100%.
Yeah. So even someone who just started in the first project, what did you learn from it? I'm always curious to see how their experience, how their journey is, and then what I can draw from that, what I can learn. I love
that mindset, because this is what I see from successful people is like, they're always learning. Even the guy who has it all figured out already, who's done like 100 deals, he's still trying to get better. He's still like learning. And I think like it's almost like a natural thing of just like entrepreneurs or success is just like constantly evolving, getting better and better. It's almost like a drive to like, no matter how good you are, you always want to find like a better way or get better at every kind of thing that you do.
It is.
And we're never going to get perfect and figure everything out, right? There's always so much room for improvement, right?
Always humble. Yeah. Like people say, oh, surround yourself with people who are doing better than you.
Yeah.
I like to surround myself with people who are new too, because they have, especially when I see the drive and I see it's like eye of the tiger. I'm like, oh, they keep me young. And then I learn so much from them too. So I learn from everyone.
I feel like, so that's like when we're doing jiu-jitsu, it's like all the different like levels is helpful. So like, let's say you're a blue belt and like, so like you learn, there's a peer level where you're jousting with the guys your level, right? So like you guys are kind of like have a certain kind of thing. There's guys below you who you're trying to like bring up, and also by teaching them, coaching them, you actually learn a lot yourself, but you also learn from them at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
And there's guys above you who are kicking your butt, but like they also teach you a lot from there. So like having level peers, having guys above you and below them is like so healthy. I think
it is. And it just empowers. It's empowering, and then it's also inspiring too, because you see them ones like, I'm like, oh, I remember, I was like that, and then when you see them,
you feel proud too of them, like when you see like achievements, it's almost like your achievements.
Which is what happened with one who said a couple of years ago, and this is how this started actually, Hawaii Home Buying Solutions. He was my marketing guy, and he goes, oh, Joe, I want to get into real estate investing, and I'm like, okay, sure. He was the first one actually who asked me, and I said, okay, what do you want to know? He's like, well, I want to start with wholesaling, something. And I'm like, okay, let's start wholesaling. But I didn't even know what the heck wholesaling was at that time. Like, what is wholesaling? So then I had to Google wholesaling. You had to go biggerpoxes.com, wholesaling. I'm like, oh, that's wholesaling. I'm like, how do you do that? So we just figure it out too, right? You're not going to have everything figured out. You're going to learn. You're going to stumble. You're going to fall. You're going to pick yourself up, and then you're just going to keep on going. And it took him about maybe 8 months, and then he got his first deal. He actually got his first deal, and it was a nice wholesale amount. I think it was like 75 grand or something like that. Amazing. And there's so many times he wanted to quit, but he did not quit. 8 months, right? So many rejections. So many rejections. I had some that was even really, really so close. Was so close. There was one deal that we almost had to close, and then you took it from us. No, did I tell you that? It's so funny. And then I found it was like, who is that? It was supposed to be an off-market thing. And then we found out was Daniel Kong.
I'm sorry. I did not know you're on that deal at all.
It was that one. It was like, we saw it before him. But it was so funny. It's so funny. But it's just hilarious. And you can laugh about it now.
It's a small
but
world.
I was crying. I was
really?
crying
I'm
because
sorry.
he worked so hard for that one. We had the contract ready to go.
Yeah.
And then
that's so heartbreaking.
They came in like,
I'm so
someone
sorry.
offered higher.
If you told me that, I would not have bought that deal. I wish
but sometimes the universe, sometimes the universe will say, okay, no, this is not for you. But after that, like a couple of months after that, that's when this deal came. So it was a development that he presented for my family to do. And my family, we only like to build like a house at a time.
Okay.
Because we want to get in and get out. And development is already taking like so long.
Yeah.
But it was more of like a bigger developer, like a mid-sized doing more. It was multiple homes.
Was this the one Eva Beach?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, you know about that one.
Okay,
yeah. So that one. And so because I didn't know how to do that.
Yeah.
So he had help. He had another wholesaler help us.
Okay.
And then someone else, there was another third person who helped too. So they collaborated.
Amazing.
And then that's when I first learned about the wholesaling process. Like I didn't even know how a wholesaling document looked like, all of that.
Assignment contract.
So that,
and stuff, yeah.
And then he brought it, and that was his first deal. And then he said that was a game changer.
Amazing. The first one where you have like a big chunk of change. So like the 240 for you.
Oh,
for me, I had like one that was like over 6 figures. And then this guy, like that first deal, when you get a taste of what real estate investing can do,
game changer.
That's when like you're like, the big thing is like, make sure there's like a positive and not like a negative. Cause there's some guys who like the first deal is like a negative 6 figures and like, that's just going to wipe you out for like the whole game. Right. So but if you have that one taste of like that positive, you do it the right way and you run things like correctly, then like that's kind of going to launch you into like the real estate investing career. Right.
Right. So. Yeah. And then for him, the numbers, like he didn't have any funds invested in it, but it was a lot of his time, his sweat, his emotional energy, and
sweat equity.
Yeah. And then he was like, "Oh, Joel, there's one time like 6 months in, he's like, oh, I don't know if I can do this, he was just really discouraged. And I said, you know what? Why don't you rest? Park your car, put it in park, and just rest. And then when you're ready, then you put it in drive, and then you go. Then you start. And then he rested, and then he went. And then a couple months after he got that, and then he was like, "I'm so glad I didn't quit." You just never know, how close you are if you quit, right?
And there's so many people who probably would have quit at the 6th month mark and never made it to the 8th month mark. Right?
And you never, Had he quit and he decided that's, I'm just going to do another business. He wouldn't have. And now he's expanding to like syndication.
Awesome.
He's just so it's just awesome. It's awesome to have had a part in that. With someone. So. It's just amazing. It's great.
So cool.
This is the pot of gold, and this is the one that I feel home. Before this, I had other careers that I just felt like homeless. It just didn't fit right, and I found one that is just it's home to me. It's home. Literally home. And it's the right fit.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Jojo. I super appreciate having you on the podcast. If people want to find out more about you, where can they reach out to you?
Okay, so I'm at IG at Build with Jojo.
Okay, Build with Jojo on IG.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.